The loudest man in the room rarely controls it. He dominates sound, not influence. Most people think influence comes from presence, from charisma, from energy, from speaking confidently and often. But real influence comes from something far less visible: restraint. And restraint is rare. Anyone can speak. Very few can hold back. Anyone can react. Very few can regulate. Anyone can fill silence. Very few can weaponize it. The man who talks the most usually reveals the most. His emotions, his intentions, his insecurities, his need to be validated. And once people understand your need, they understand your weakness. Influence is not built through volume. It is built through control. When you speak less, your words gain weight. When you react less, your presence gains tension. When you hold back, people lean in. Volume forces attention. Restraint creates gravity. And gravity pulls people toward you without effort. Think about powerful figures. They don't rush to speak. They don't interrupt. They don't over-explain. They pause. They observe. They respond slowly. And that slowness signals something powerful. I am not moved by this. When you're easily moved, you're easily positioned. When you're easily positioned, you're easily ignored. Restraint is not weakness. It is strategic withholding. It's choosing when to act instead of reacting to everything. Most men fear silence. Silence exposes insecurity. Silence feels uncomfortable. So they talk. They explain. They justify. They defend. And in doing so, they lower their positioning. Influence grows in silence, because silence builds tension, and tension builds curiosity. Curiosity builds authority. If you speak too fast, you release tension too early. If you explain too much, you remove mystery. If you react too quickly, you reveal instability. Restraint keeps your position elevated. The man who is not easily triggered cannot be easily controlled. The man who does not rush cannot be rushed. The man who does not seek approval cannot be manipulated through it. That is influence, not loud dominance, not aggressive presence. Calm restraint. Most men don't lose influence because they're weak. They lose it because they talk too soon. They react too fast. They respond to everything. And in doing so, they lower their position. Influence is a positioning game. The one who reacts first usually holds less power. Why? Because reacting first signals emotional movement, and movement signals instability. If someone challenges you and you immediately defend yourself, you just showed urgency. Urgency lowers hierarchy. If someone criticizes you and you explain yourself in detail, you just revealed need. Need lowers positioning. If someone ignores you and you chase clarification, you just exposed dependence. Dependence destroys influence. Restraint prevents all three. Restraint means you don't defend every accusation. You don't correct every misunderstanding. You don't respond to every message instantly. You don't escalate every tension. Most men fear that restraint will make them look passive. It won't. It makes you look stable. And stability is intimidating. When someone raises their voice and you lower yours, you control tempo. When someone pushes emotionally and you remain neutral, you control atmosphere. When someone tries to provoke you and you pause, you control outcome. Influence comes from controlling tempo, not volume. Volume tries to overpower. Restraint makes others adjust. and the person others adjust to is the one leading. Here's what happens subconsciously. When you speak less, people listen harder. When you pause longer, people fill the silence carefully. When you respond slowly, people become more intentional around you. Because unpredictability plus calm creates tension, and tension commands attention. There's another layer. Over-explaining kills mystery, and mystery sustains influence. If people know exactly what you think at all times, there's no psychological leverage. If your reactions are predictable, you are manageable. Manageable people are not powerful. Restraint keeps part of you unreadable, and unreadable men are respected. You don't need to dominate conversation. You need to regulate it. You don't need to be louder. You need to be slower. Slowness signals confidence. Silence signals control. Delayed response signals composure. Restraint signals self-governance. And self-governance is the root of authority. Restraint is not natural. Reaction is natural. If someone attacks you, your body wants to respond. If someone challenges you, your ego wants to defend. If someone ignores you, your mind wants to chase. Restraint is the interruption of instinct, and that interruption is power. The first step in building restraint is learning to delay reaction, not suppress it. Delay it. When someone says something that triggers you, do not answer immediately. Pause. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Long enough for your emotion to peak and fall slightly. That gap is where influence lives. Most men collapse that gap instantly. They react before thinking. And the moment you react impulsively, you give away positioning. Second, control your facial expressions. Microreactions expose internal movement. Raised eyebrows, forced smiles, visible irritation. All of it lowers mystery. Influence increases when your face stays neutral under pressure. Neutral does not mean cold. It means controlled. Third, reduce verbal fillers. Explaining too much. Adding unnecessary context. Justifying simple decisions. Every extra word reduces weight. If your answer requires 3 paragraphs, your positioning weakens. Say it once, slowly, and stop. Silence will do more than your extra sentences ever could. Fourth, train restraint outside conversation. Discipline builds it. Cold showers, structured workouts, delayed gratification, waking up without negotiation. When you train your nervous system to tolerate discomfort, you stop reacting impulsively in social situations. Restraint is neurological strength, not personality. Fifth, detach from outcome. If you desperately need someone to agree, you will over-explain. If you desperately need validation, you will overshare. If you desperately need control of the narrative, you will talk too much. Influence grows when you are okay with silence, okay with disagreement, okay with tension. When you are comfortable in discomfort, others feel it. And when others feel that you are not easily moved, they move instead. Restraint is not about being passive. It's about choosing when to act, choosing when to speak, choosing when to escalate. Most men escalate unconsciously. Influential men escalate intentionally. Intentional movement builds hierarchy. Impulsive movement destroys it. Loud dominance is visible. Controlled influence is invisible. And invisible power always lasts longer. The loud man forces space. The restrained man owns it. There's a difference. Dominance tries to overpower the room. Influence makes the room adjust. Dominance escalates. Influence stabilizes. Dominance reacts to maintain position. Influence doesn't need to. Most men confuse intimidation with authority. But intimidation depends on pressure. Authority depends on composure. If your power disappears the moment you stop pushing, it was never power. It was noise. Restraint creates something far more dangerous than volume. Uncertainty. When you don't react instantly, people don't know how to read you. When you don't escalate emotionally, they don't know how to move you. When you don't chase approval, they can't leverage it against you. That unpredictability under control creates psychological elevation. And elevation creates hierarchy. Here's the truth most men avoid. If someone can provoke you easily, they own your emotional steering wheel. If someone can rush you into reacting, they control tempo. If someone can bait you into explaining yourself, they reduce your positioning. Restraint cuts all three. Because restraint removes urgency. And urgency is weakness. The man who does not rush cannot be rushed. The man who does not defend cannot be cornered. The man who does not escalate cannot be destabilized. That stability is rare. And rare behavior commands attention without demanding it. Influence grows in restraint because restraint signals internal order. Internal order signals self-governance. Self-governance signals leadership. And leadership does not shout. It anchors. When tension appears and you remain composed, people recalibrate around you. When chaos rises and you slow down, people adjust their pace. When aggression surfaces and you stay neutral, the dynamic shifts. Not because you forced it, because you held it. That's the difference. Loud dominance tries to win moments. Restraint builds long-term authority. Moments fade. Authority compounds. Volume might get attention. Restraint gets respect. And respect is influence that lasts beyond the conversation. So if you want real influence, stop trying to overpower rooms. Stop trying to dominate exchanges. Stop trying to be the loudest voice. Build restraint. Train composure. Slow down reactions. Reduce unnecessary words. Hold tension without collapsing. Because the man who cannot be moved easily cannot be ignored easily. Influence does not come from volume. It comes from control. And control is built in restraint.